Yeah, the election victory of Jair Bolsonaro in Brazil is an extremely dangerous development. People in the United States and other countries always call him the Trump of the tropics, or somehow comparing him to Donald Trump, but he's actually much worse because he's very, very explicit in his racism, in his sexism, in his homophobia, in his idolization of the military, in his authoritarianism. And so it really is going to depend, I think, to what extent existing Brazilian institutions, which are already very weak, are going to support his project or are going to, rein him in. But one very kind of worrying development, of course, is also that he named as justice minister the judge who put Lula in prison. And so that somebody who campaigned, I mean, one of the reasons he was supposedly elected was because he opposed corruption. But to me, that's the clearest sign yet of corruption, is to appoint somebody who got rid of your political opposition as justice minister. It just seems unbelievable. And so if that's the trend, it's going to be very, very dangerous for Brazil and also for the rest of Latin America. I think it's a combination of factors. One is that the Workers' Party government that is under Lula and then under Dilma Rousseff probably didn't do enough to work with and to support social movements in Brazil. So they didn't have a real solid base that they expanded while they were in office. So when Dilma was removed from office, she wasn't left with anybody to really fight for her in the end, I think. And of course, the economic situation did not help. When Brazil went through a serious economic crisis for a variety of reasons, not specifically having to do actually with the policies of the government, but that certainly weakened her. And once she was in a weakened position with no real solid social support, it was an opportunity really for the right in Brazil to take advantage of that. And to get her out of the way by impeaching her for no good reason. And that's of course something they've wanted to do for a long time, but they were able to do it because the circumstances were right. Well, first of all, I think it's very important for the left in Latin America to study exactly what went wrong and to try to learn lessons from what went wrong. I can't really say I have the answers for what those lessons might be, but one of them I think is what I mentioned earlier, which is that the governments need to work closely together with the social movements. I think Evo Morales in Bolivia succeeded in doing that. The others, especially Brazil, like I said, not so much. In Ecuador is a little bit of a special situation because the government was perceived as being left, but then once in office moved more and more to the right. And so that was kind of a different situation that took people by surprise, I would say. So it's a bit of a different situation than each country is different, of course, but the Ecuadorian case is really an example of co-optation of what was supposed to be a progressive government, but turned out not to be. Whereas the situation in Venezuela and Brazil are completely different.